New year, a new Marvel show, a new failure? I'm not sure if it's a failure, but Marvel started with Echo, a show centered about Echo. Maya Lopez, a former paid killer for Kingpin, who shot Kingpin in the face at the end of Hawkeye, and now she's on the run. A miniseries with 5 episodes, which was supposed to be gritty, mature, full of blood, bring back Daredevil, and of course bring back Kingpin, because we already know that he survived because he will star in Daredevil Born Again series, probably, that will debut in 2025. So it was supposed to be all that. It was supposed to be like bringing back the emotions, the feel of Netflix Marvel series. But did it succeed? Well, not really. But my issue with Echo is not so much that they didn't succeed or that it was a little bit boring. The biggest issue I have with Echo is how they handled Kingpin.
Don't be afraid.
Just as the series dropped on Disney+, we learned that basically all the Marvel shows on Netflix, so Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, etc., they all became canon. Will it be soft canon, so almost everything happened, or it happened, but in a way, we will see that in the future, but this means that Kingpin existed in MCU since the very beginning, practically. So, we know that he was the king of New York. We know that he was not only charming, but sneaky, not only sneaky, but also deadly, that he had those rage issues, that he really ruled the world, and he did not show up everywhere to deal with some minor problems. Okay, so we had that as a base, as a framework that we can build on, that we can add some meat to this skeleton and build a new Kingpin for the MCU. So we learned that, and this is, for me, this is very important because this shows us how we should perceive Wilson Fisk, how we should create him. And in Hawkeye, we kind of made him a little bit weak, a little bit like a toy soldier, because he falls very easily. He was walking like this. I'm using a McFarlane toy because it's easier, because he had this big fat suit and it really looked like a toy walking, and he basically got knocked out and almost destroyed by a teenager, or maybe she's like 21, whatever. So he already had a bad start at the MCU. Here, it was about re-establishing him as a big bad for the street level Marvel heroes. If you remember, Kevin Feige, or probably Kevin Feige, talked about that we basically have 3 levels of Marvel and we want to explore those 3 levels. So it would be like the street level, it would be Captain America, right now maybe Luke Cage, etc. Daredevil, of course. We would have like the space wars, so Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Mystic Arts, so Doctor Strange, etc. So these are like 3 different branches of Marvel. So Kingpin was built, or was being built, as the big bad for the street level crime, which is totally understandable. But here, in Echo, in a show, when we learn, of course, that he did not die, he basically shows up at this Oklahoma small town to talk with Echo and to show her that he cared. We don't have a problem with that. As we know, Kingpin had a very small group of people that he trusted, and if any of those guys or girls were killed, he was really emotional. We remember what happened when Karen killed one of his friends. We remember how he reacted to, you embarrassed me in front of her, blah, blah, blah. So there's nothing wrong with showing that Maya is another protege that really is important for him. That he thinks, okay, this is the one that I will go into battle with. No problem with that. But the whole series cannot make it mind up. It just cannot decide whether we want to make him sympathetic or believe him that he really loves, in its own wicked, weird way, Maya, or is he just trying to manipulate her? Oh, especially that in the fifth episode, we have a big standoff. And the standoff is between an old lady with weird magic powers, another girl that has no power but will have weird hand powers, and of course Maya and Kingpin, because that is something that the big king of New York does. He goes to a small town, tries to terrorize an old lady, and then basically gets his ass kicked by an old lady. So, in this standoff, we learn like that he probably manipulated Maya, which doesn't make sense, because we have a scene in episode 2 or 3 where he saw that Maya is being disrespected by a vendor, and he basically almost kills the guy. And also we learn that Maya enjoys violence at the age of 5. We get scenes like this that show us Maya is a born villain. Great! And then we will change everything in the 5th episode. Maya is a born good girl and she will protect the city because she's, in her heart, she is a healer. Bullshit! She is not a healer, she is a killer. Especially in the very next episode after we learn about being a kid who likes to kick poor vendors that disrespected her. She is shown with her first adult action. And it shows her as being shook, and then she starts to fight, and she basically enjoys killing people. Enjoys. This is a very important word. Enjoys killing people. It's not a person that, like Hawkeye, who became Ronin for a while, but he wasn't okay, it's so cool killing. No. He was, such burden. It was like Daredevil, the Ben Affleck version from 2003. I'm so burdened. But we see Maya, snapping a neck, and her heart rate slows down because she's okay, I'm enjoying it. And then she says it to Kingpin, yeah, I'm enjoying it. So we get a story about a woman that likes violence, that chooses violence, who later gets 2 or 3 visions of something, gets a weird circle on her hand, and then she chooses, no, I'm connected to this Native American land and to my foremothers, whatever. No. I know what they're trying to do here, but it doesn't work. Especially, it doesn't work when we connect it to Kingpin, who, as I said, gets basically his ass kicked and he gets healed by Maya, and he does not even retribute for getting his whole factory or whole stash of weapons blown up, getting a number of his people killed. Maya basically kills, 20, maybe 30. We don't know how many people were in the factory or whatever it is, the station where some weapons, some other stuff, illegal stuff were transported for Kingpin. So she basically cost him many millions of dollars and lives of his crew. And his reaction is, I'm going down there. I will not punish any one of those people, anyone, and later she will touch me with those 4 fingers. She will try to say to me, let go of the anger of killing your father. Let go of the anger, which is so Disney, you have to let go of the anger. Fuck you! I killed my father. This is part of me. This is part of my my spine, my moral spine. If you try to learn Kingpin, this is part of him. This is trying to say, you're no longer Wilson Fisk. You're no longer Kingpin. This is trying to say to Peter Parker, there is no responsibility. There is no power. This is basically trying to take the DNA of Kingpin and remove it. So she does that, and after this weird psychotherapy session, Kingpin just goes to his private jet and then says, okay, I need to do something different. I will run for mayor, which is so normal for me. That's why, I don't have a problem with changing the way Iho fights, or maybe the way her power works. No problem, because she's third-rate, fourth-rate villain that fights with Daredevil sometimes. We don't care about them. Don't worry. Probably, we don't know if she will ever pop up again. Maybe like one episode of Daredevil Born Again, or maybe somewhere in Disney Park. We don't care about that at all. But when it comes to a character like Kingpin, which is supposed to be important for a number of years, a number of coming years for the MCU, when you start by trying to remove like this, the philosophical, the emotional, the spine of the character, you basically, like, you set up to fail. You set Daredevil Born Again to fail. The only way I can look at Echo series and think about it as a positive is, okay, they created it, they basically wrote it before the big fiasco of the Secret Invasion, of Ant-Man Quantumania, of the other series, or whatever it was, or the Marvels. Like, before the big failure of 2023 and the whole restructuring of Marvel politics, of MCU politics. So we will make less shows, less movies. We will try to focus on doing more character-driven stuff. We will hire showrunners because showrunners are good for series. It's easier to maintain a level of quality if you have a showrunner who is responsible for what will happen in the series. Before that, the series really were just like, we need to introduce this, and this. We need to have 5 other characters that will be important in our shows or other movies, and let's go. So if you take all this into account, you probably think, okay, this series, this Echo series, was doomed to fail. So basically, the fact that it's not 1 out of 10, the fact that it's not horrible, that it's boring but kind of okay, like 4, maybe 5 out of 10. The fact that it's kind of okay but boring, it might be like a very big promising sign, because it was created in the slums, in the slums of Marvel. It was like a Chinese factory that was trying to push as much content as possible, and still it doesn't suck. It only sucks a little bit. So that is my biggest problem here. So what are my predictions for Born Again and the future of Kingpin? One very promising sign is the fact that they scrapped all the footage that they had already, that they basically fired all the people responsible for writing, and they tried to make it anew. They tried to make it with a showrunner. They try to basically match it with. I think they will be using the comics in a different way. Especially, it will not be a strict adaptation, because if you read Born Again, there is AIDS, there is porn, there are people dying of AIDS, and you have to reintroduce Charlie Cox or Daredevil in a big way. So if they want to do this, they would have to try to republish all those 3 series of Daredevil as Disney Plus series, or try to really watch the Netflix series once again, and really get it into your head. So if they will do that, okay, but probably we can expect that the Kingpin, even if he will be still played so beautifully by Vincent D'Onofrio, because one thing, Vincent D'Onofrio, whatever the script says, he still gives it 100% and he's really committed. But even if they change the little things, I think we can expect a little bit stupider version of Kingpin, who is not such good as the King of New York, the King of Crime, as he was in that Daredevil series. Which is not really good, but I think we really shouldn't expect that much from Marvel right now. This is kind of rebuilding year. This is like going out of rehab. So this is your first thing you do out of rehab. So I know that you will be slow, that you probably will want to go back and drink again or whatever, to drugs. So Marvel is in that moment. So he can have a relapse any day. So we should encourage him. Go Marvel, do okay stuff. Maybe in a year or 2, we will come back to something really Beautiful. Okay, that's enough from me. You've been a part of Cinematic Julianism, so if you want to join and be part of the conversation of our cinematic journeys, be sure to press the like, subscribe and all other buttons. And if you want to talk smack about my accent, be my guest. I will be the first one to talk about how I'm changing the way I speak every possible sentence. See you next time in Cinematic Julianism.